This call is being recorded.
Okay, good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the wide, wide world. My name is Carla Wynn Hall. I'm going to be your host today. You're listening to Ready, Set, Speak. It's a podcast dedicated to bringing out the stories from inspirational men, women, and young adults who are shaking the earth with their messages. And this podcast is going to feature guests that actually are changing the future for humankind because they're tapping into innovation, they're tapping into that unseen energy of life that a lot of times we don't talk about, and they're really coming out with solutions. They're coming out with ideas that are converting themselves into solution. Everything is conversion, right? An idea is a way that you take what you're thinking inside of your heart and you convert it into a solution. And our guest today is absolutely a pioneer in this. But right now I want to talk to you just for a minute about who I am and why I'm doing this. So I am a 5-time #1 international best-selling author, but the only way that I got there was by working with women side by side in books that you know as anthologies. I am a publisher and own my own publishing company called the Soulful Pen. And what I consider myself is a professional in the field of emotional story shifting. And what this means is I help primarily women to get out of their painful story of memory through teaching them how to write from their soul level, how to really get down into their soul and take a pen or a Word document and convert or transmute that story into its equivalent on paper so that they can take their power back from the story. I've seen tremendous success in the women that I've worked with and helped to get published. Over 850 women after this November, over 850 women, men and children, have been published in my series of books now called the Soulspiration series. That's S-O-U-L, Spiration, S-P-I-R-A-T-I-O-N, Soulspiration. So Ready, Set, Speak is just the arm of my brand. And it's just basically a podcast that I wanted to do because I needed to be able to expand my vocal voice. I had worked consistently behind a computer as a paralegal, as a website designer, and now as a publisher. So I really wanted to be able to get my voice practiced up and ready to go further. Next year I want to start speaking, and there's just a lot of things that I want to do. So basically my very own story of survival from an abusive relationship forms the basis of my outreach to support women in releasing their pain through words and through writing. And I want to do a shout-out right quick to my podcast coach, which is kind of ironic because she has cerebral palsy. And she was born a little baby, little over a pound in Aspen, Colorado, 29 years ago. Her name is Wynn Kelly Charles. She hosts 2 podcasts herself. One is Butterflies with Wisdom, and that's a podcast featuring a robust set of topics and a wide array of interesting guests. Her other podcast is called She Is CP, and this is a podcast where she talks about her life with cerebral palsy. And today we're going to be talking about quantum healing and just a lot of things that are a little bit on the metaphysical side, but I believe that everything is metaphysical. And what does that mean? It means this. It means it is beyond what you can see. So 10 years ago, cerebral palsy, in my eyes, was a telethon on TV where you spent some money, and people who had cerebral palsy were in wheelchairs, and they were put into nursing homes. But that's not true. And Wynn Kelly Charles, who is my podcast coach, she has proven that time and time again. She's taught herself how to speak by watching newscasts and watching news anchors and journalism specialists. And she's had speech pathology, and she feeds her brain. The more she feeds her brain, the more she's kicking this disease. And she's telling people all over the world how she's doing it. So that's my shout out for today. My guest today is Karen. Hold on, I've got to get back to you so I can unmute you so you can tell me how to pronounce it. Okay, let's go. How do I pronounce your name one more time?
Karen Khadijah Davis-Foulks.
There we go. And she is affectionately known as Dr. K. She's a native Washingtonian and founder of the Art of Self-Healing and Self-Help, which stands for Help, Education for Longevity and Peace, established in 1997. It's a health and wellness maintenance organization for disease prevention, and she's a conscious self-help care educator. She's not a licensed doctor and doesn't pretend to play one on TV and all that stuff, but she has an amazing insight into how our bodies function in this world that we're living in today on an energetic and cellular level. She's also co-author side by side with me in 100 Voices of Inspiration, Awakening, and Empowerment. We're going to launch that book on November the 22nd, so if you're listening to this podcast on the recording when it comes out live, I want you to remember that. Mark your calendars down, because this book's filled with 100 stories that are just robust and various and vibrant and different, and it'll make you cry and laugh, and it'll make you go, So this is going to be a great big book full of amazing stories. So welcome to Ready, Set, Speak, Karen. I'm so glad you're here.
I am so excited to be here with you, Carla. I am so excited for you and your journey and for your connection with Wynn to allow you to begin to use your voice through speaking, because you also have done it in the background, and now you're bringing yourself forward, what gives me the opportunity to share with your listening audience my wonderful opportunity to be involved with 100 Voices and sharing my journey of being a conscious self-health care educator and moving from disease care to conscious self-health care, which is not standard, which is not normal, because the majority of the masses live in fear that they must believe in disease care. And I'm here to let you know that it is just what you said, a belief. You believe in disease care, and you can change that belief at any moment. So thank you for joining your audience today.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. So I've read over your bio, and right now I can tell you that the energy level coming through my body just from the vibration of this call has got goosebumps all over my arms. So I hope that energy goes out into the world when they listen to this podcast. It is a global podcast, and we've got listeners from all over the world, from New Zealand, Australia, Canada, you name it. They're going to be someone from anywhere you can think of listen to this. So I have a couple of questions for you, and my first question is, can you tell or talk to our audience just a moment, what is quantum healing?
Okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's center ourselves. It's a conscious self-health care moment, and we're relearning and we're thinking and we're rewriting. And everybody has their own perception and their own understanding. But I live in a world of simplicity. And for me, quantum health and healing is singular. It means in terms of me thinking about myself, my life, and how I am living my life here on planet Earth. And when I think in terms of quantum, that tells me that I move beyond my five senses, that I know that I am a conscious thinker. I am thinking my life through this paradigm. And so because of that, I no longer have to be tuned in frequency and vibration of a man-made mindset of thought and rules about knowledge and how I am to live. That gives me a presence of being who I am as a human being, but that is my limitation with that. I expand my awareness of who I am by knowing that there is no limit within me, that God and I are one, that there is no separation, and that is a frequency of vibration, the source of life. So that is within me. So quantum means a relationship with understanding who I am as a physical projected being of my soul inner self. And so you are one with yourself. Love yourself, honor yourself, and trust yourself. You vibrate to frequencies of information from man to live in the duality of this earth atmosphere. But that is not who you are. You are able to expand beyond any limitations that make you not love and honor and respect yourself. And whenever you feel that discord, that disharmony, and that imbalance in you, remember quantum means love myself.
Quantum means love myself. I love hearing that. And so when you and I talk about energy vibration, and I just want to tell you for a moment, the new book that I've got coming out is called The Soul Code for Women. And let me tell you, this book is being channeled through that part of me that I cannot talk to with my conscious mind, because there's just no way that through my conscious mind I could write the book that I'm writing right now. And it talks about how women specifically hold on to those stories and beliefs inside of themselves, and those stories tend to mutate, and that mutation turns into a physical manifestation of a disease in their body. And so the thing is, I want to be able to reach their subconscious and unconscious mind with my words on that level of self-love, on that level of quantum health, that we are all interconnected, not just are we connected directly to soul source, energy, to spirit, but we're connected to each other in this great divine matrix. So everything that's going on with us, is going on with us internally, and the better that we are, the better that the people around us can be, and the more they feel like they can tap into their own internal vibration. So how would you, in your own words, describe to the listeners, what does it mean when we say energy frequency, when we say frequency of our vibration, on terms that that would resonate with anyone who's listening to this podcast? How would you explain that?
Most people don't think in terms of seeing themselves as a energetic being. They hear about that understanding. They're so used to dealing with the five senses of the material world, and so they process information and they process their life from that understanding. If we take in turn to take a moment to consider that if I feel this energetic frequency of knowingness, I just get this intuitive feeling. So what is that? I dismiss it, or I will honor it, but I won't see it as a frequency vibration. I won't see that the things that are brought to me in life through television, through radio, through everything that I'm able to communicate with is through frequency and vibration. And they turn it into sounds and they turn it into words. And so we don't see ourselves as that. We see it as that's a part of the world. And we need to vibrate to that is who we are. We are more than matter. We understand that when we understand the frequency that was given to us through Isaac Newton. We understand that frequency of E equals M23 squared, whatever it is. We hear that frequency vibration, but we won't equate it to ourselves. And it's time now, and the frequency is showing us that we must look at ourselves as more than just physical matter. And that's how the world sees us, because they're dissecting our human body to understand what it is that we are. That's why they always go to nature, go to the instincts and bugs and things like that to determine about who we are as human beings. And so it's time for us to look at ourselves like that we are frequency, that we are vibration, that when we touch something, ow, we do get that feeling, what was that?
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
get that vibration, we hear it, or we are waving our hands and we're moving in a certain motion, we feel something. And then we expand our hands and we just keep moving and we feel something in the middle of it, because that's who we are. This is a mere covering of who we are coming to a planet. And we don't want to align ourselves with that truth, because we've been hearing for centuries that we are this material body. And so we are now being challenged to honor ourselves. And that puts up a wall of fear for people. So you won't see frequency and vibration as you, but you know about it when you go upgrade to that cell phone.
Exactly.
And that cell phone
Exactly.
is actually modeled after you. And that's why that high definite frequency of man trying to be greater than the frequency of life brings an imbalance into your life and into a balance into existence, because we don't want to accept the frequency and vibration. So
If
you feel it
if
when you walk across carpet, you feel it all kinds of ways. So people has got to at least accept that I am more than my physical body. My physical body is here. There's an energetic body too. Now, how do I create balance with that?
Exactly. And what I want to say to the listeners is, listen to the words that she's saying and just let them sink into you, and then you will feel it. You'll feel the vibrational frequency just like I do. Where I always use the example of a rose. Like, okay, I can grow. My son thinks, everybody that I know thinks that I'm cuckoo, because I'll go to Walmart, anywhere that's clearancing out plants, and I'll buy them all, because I know that I can share my frequency with this rose. I know that I can share my love and my frequency with a rose bush, and it will grow, and it'll be 6 foot tall before you know it, because I understand that the energy that created that rose is not anything I'll ever be able to see with my human eyes. It's not anything I will be able to figure it out, quote, quote. I'll never be able to figure it out with my brain, but I can feel the vibration inside of that beautiful flower. And when someone says to you, talk to plants, that's a whole lot deeper than what you would imagine, having been taught in school and in different places about the science of this or the science of that. But good grief, we are all created from a sperm and an egg and some energy. The energy vibration of whatever happens in the womb can only be barely explained, but not really, because that's that invisible that you have to trust and you have to have belief that it's there in order for it really to be able to provide you with the balance that you'll have with your linear thinking brain that's up there. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if for a moment we could just let go of the head part and understand what we are actually in underneath the skin. So
well, we do need that primitive aspect of us, because it brings awareness to what danger is, but we stay in it because we are living in a separate vibration of understanding. Man has taught us to think that we are separate from everything. When, like you just used the analogy of nature, man is not separate from nature, but yet man look into nature. We as human beings, we love going into nature. We love looking into nature, but we don't see that we are nature.
But
We
we
are
are
that
nature.
frequency. We are that vibration. I am the universe, and the universe is me. We are so caught in the matter of things that we forget how much does matter really matter, because matter is a projection of what we have in our conscious understanding, and everybody you meet is you. And you have to
Exactly.
vibrate to that frequency within you and saying, what is this person showing me about me? It's all good. It's nothing bad or it's nothing wrong. See, our genes don't cause diseases. Your belief do. It's all about belief in what we understand. And the way man has developed itself is to create duality to understand itself. And we got into this whole premise that we need knowledge to understand who we are, and we go against ourselves. I recommend people that they be still. Self-love, self-care, self-confidence. It's all about a returning to self-love. We have to return to who we are and not dismiss that energetic, knowing, intuition, feeling of who we are. And then we turn around, Carla, and we match it up to a man-made mindset of knowledge, understanding, and frequency, which is separation.
Right.
And then we get into
Wow.
an imbalanced harmony with heart, mind, brain, and body. And we do this to ourselves, trying to align ourselves with so many different aspects of what the world is bringing us. But it's
What
crying
are
for us. If you want to understand the world, you have to understand the world that you created. And when you understand
absolutely.
the world that you created, you have to understand your alignment in that world with what you know and what you feel. Because I'm telling you, beliefs can get you caught up. Believe you can, believe you cannot. Either way, you are right and you are creating.
Exactly. So that leads me to my next question, and then I'm going to save question number 2 for the last, because it's a little bit, it goes into a little bit about the medical community. But since you mentioned beliefs, okay, so I want my listeners to truly understand, because some of the women who are writing in 100 Voices are right now going through cancer, having cancer, and I'm just, just like you, I just want to get the message to these women that there is a connection between emotions, beliefs, and cellular health. So in your opinion, what is the connection between emotions over beliefs and cellular health, and even between emotions over beliefs and cancer?
Okay, let's take that word cancer, which is really great because it's encompassing of all diseases, no matter if they're mental, physical, or emotions.
Amen.
So
Absolutely.
let's just say this, that in our knowingness of our human being, our 5 senses and knowledge and understanding, family, community, and friends, ask yourself this one question. Was I ever really taught anything about cellular ecology? Was I really ever taught anything about how a cell works? How a cell receives nutrients, how a cell receives oxygen, how a cell receives information? Was I ever really taught about the life of a cell? Because I intuitively know what a cell needs, but I go by and live by what I was taught. So we never was taught healthcare and caring for the cell. We was taught healthcare, and when we feel something that's out of balance, to go to someone. And that someone has been in the medical industry, and they were never taught cellular ecology. They were taught a process of learning how cells work, but giving the power over to them and not to the individual. Community, when you learn cellular ecology, you will have no fear of any disease. You will understand why they say everything is inflammation, because it ends in IS, and you will understand why they say everything is emotional attachment to it, because our cells perform and act and respond to your thinking, to your vibration. You don't even have to give it a thought. If you imagine it, it seems real to the body. It will respond. So whatever you holding on to in consciousness, as your understanding about how your body works, how your cells receive oxygen, how your cells receive nutrients, how they clean and perform themselves, if you think that that has nothing to do with you, then you will live in fear, and you will give your body over to a system that says, you need me to correct you. Now think about it. Do you need anybody to correct you for real? No. You need to understand cellular ecology. If you cannot trust your own vibrations, then learn how cells work. Because epigenetics has now put a marker into gene therapy that says genes governs your biology. That is not true. It does not matter what the microbe is, it's the environment that it lives in, and it is expressed through your thinking. That's simplistic, but that is so powerful, because now why? I can't blame my parents. I can't blame viruses.
Can't blame your DNA.
I can't blame DNA. I can't blame anybody. And why do you want to blame? That's a low level frequency. Why would
Exactly.
you want to blame? Why would you want to put it on anybody else? Why would you want to give your being, your life existence over to anybody else? You see, we create cellular malfunctions. Cells malfunction because the process is not conducive to create enough energy for you to power the power of this body to move like you want to move. We create blockages and stagnation. Trapped plasma protein, where energy is not flowing good, where blood is not flowing good, where information is not flowing good. So it creates a rift and stagnation. When you clean up your mental thinking, when you provide, because you know what, Carla, it's a balance. It is a
Right.
projected body. So there is laws for the physical body that we must abide by. And if we don't abide by those laws for the physical body, the cells will show us an imbalance. And then if our conscience is not in tune to who you are, and knowing that everything starts from within, you will still create that same imbalance. And you will create loops and loops that will keep repeating itself. And your body becomes into a state of danger. It's like my cells is like, it's danger. It's like danger, danger, danger. What do I do? And I'm trying to correct myself. But
And
we
that's
have
for
to be in
cellular
alignment
mutation,
with who we
right?
are. Right. And so what it is that we don't know cellular ecology. We don't know how the body works. I'm a lymphologist. I teach cellular ecology. What the United States did after 1963 was they decided that we're not going to have lymphologists, because a lymphologist must tell you how to correct your cellular malfunctions. We're going to rename the lymphologist in the United States oncologists, and we're going to create cancer. Because cancer,
Uh-huh.
because what is cancer? If heart disease is number one, and we all are more concerned about cancer, what is cancer? It is a polluted body with clogged arteries. Okay? It's not being able to purify itself. And they say it spreads, because what spreads? Blood. Blood moves through and circulates through every organ. How well does it move through? How well are your pipes, your arteries, your lymphatic vessels? This is very simplistic. It's not complicated to how to take care of the human body, but medicine is complicated. But how to take care of the human body is not complicated. So what do you want to vibrate to, community? The tree of life or the tree of death? What is your knowledge bringing you? It's time to be still, center yourself, conscious self-healthcare moves, breathing. The formula is oxygen pumps electricity power. How are you powering yourself?
Wow. So I guess here's how I want to. I do not even want to end this call. I want to sit and talk to you till tomorrow. I really do because I've been learning this on my own, wondering if there was another human being out there that I could connect with that believes what I was trying to say. I believe that you can shift your DNA with your thoughts, with loving yourself, with imagining the cells in your body are all smiling, every cell is happy, and that there is a connection between pulling up energy into your body through happiness and joy and the higher vibration emotions and what your body does in kind and how it responds to the nature of your vibration and your song. How does your body respond to just saying, I love you? You know, so many women have the biggest problem just looking at their own face and saying, I love you. I'm in love with you. You're the sexiest thing I've ever seen. You know, and I try to teach them how to write this in words because through shaking hands, they get the words up out of their body and at least it comes out of their body for a moment while they're writing their story and getting it out that way. So I guess what I would like for to see if I could get you to do now is to maybe take us through an exercise, a small, maybe 2 or 3 minute exercise on how we can begin to tap into that that's inside of us that can start the process of getting us back balanced out of this crazy, chaotic world.
Okay, it might be new for some people, but you have to realize that there's a field of energy around everything. And you must understand that every cell in your body creates the human being that you are, that you see. You are not separate. The inside is you projected on the outside. And so when we realize that, we know that when you heal your field that governs the cell, the higher level, reaching higher ground, that that place that you go to that you may label it as somebody else or some religion is really within you, within yourself. So you're returning to yourself. And when you reach that vibration and you recognize that, you will stop fighting yourself and you will stop fighting a disease. Because remember the law, two thoughts cannot vibrate in the same vibration. One has to win over. So you have to ask yourself, what are you really vibrating to? And you have to leave a man-made mindset of human consciousness. See, that's my way of bringing everything into understanding. It's a man-made mindset of human consciousness. If you're struggling with it, if you're thinking about it, if you're working on it, you're asking, you're trying to convince yourself of something. Nature does not have to convince itself of anything, and you don't have to convince yourself of anything. You know, even the ones that are taking pharmaceuticals, you know that they're bringing about a different vibration in your body that you do not feel well in the long term. But for some reason, you still vibrate to it. And you don't have to vibrate to that because your body is crying for nature's nourishment. And you can replace yourself with that. So basically, simply is it's a shift in energy. And how do we shift out of chronic disease, stress, care? How do we shift out of that? It's simple. We don't have to go back and try to look at our programs and reprogram ourselves and realize that what they say that we learned before we were 6 years old, that that's in our subconscious mind. Because when you go to anybody through talk therapy, to any kind of anything, set, be still, and honor what you feel within yourself and know it will not match people around you because they're still stuck in that other state of thinking. But you stay true to yourself and you move forward with your new vibration. And when you honor yourself where you are to line yourself with the world that you want to see, that you want to be, other people will start doing the same thing too. So just take a moment. And I always just tell people, take a conscious self-health care hour, take a conscious self-health care moment every day, and look at your life and ask yourself and remind yourself that you are a big cell. And what do I need to do? So for me, in the state that we all are, that we must understand that we create health, because when you are healthy, you are happy, you are loving, and you feel good. And when you vibrate to anything of any kind of low frequency, it stagnates you and it puts you in a state of disharmony. And the only way to get back into that is what? To change your state of consciousness. So life is a state of consciousness. Health is consciousness and healing is a function of consciousness. So whenever you feel an imbalance, whenever you feel that you're not in alignment, take a moment and take a deep breath, because the breath is what really circulates everything through the body. That's why it starts with oxygen.
That is amazing. Okay, so Karen, do me a favor now and just tell everyone what you've got going on. How can they get in touch with you? What kind of programs do you offer for them? And just let them know how they can reach you.
Okay, I'll take a deep breath and let me say that I am so thankful. And I moved from disease care to conscious self-health care when it wasn't popular over 30 years ago. And because of my life and how I lived myself, people thought that I would not honor my mother and where she was. And that's why I'm so thankful to share my story in 100 Voices of how my life got turned, flipped upside down, inside out by the medical industry because I told them to reverse a procedure, to not use what they did to manage health care for my mother after she has been in her state for over 50 years, lost major organs, been through so many things to no longer keep her alive. And because I know and trust who I am and what I know about cellular ecology, my mother's life got tangled into my life. And the medical system convinced my family that I was not giving my mother medical care. And so a whole lot of things happening. So I'm sharing my story of how I moved from disease care to conscious self-health care. I'm a conscious self-health care educator. When you come to me, I'm going to share with you information to empower you about epigenetics, that you are not a victim to your genes. I'm going to share with you about iatrogenetics, how everything that we go through is a fault of doctors and their understanding about what they're doing. They're practicing iatrogenetics, the third leading causes of death in America, next to heart disease and cancer, which means death caused by doctors. And when we understand what that field is all about, we will open ourselves up to understand that there are more fields of medicine that we can choose from. There are legitimate options that we can choose from. The thing about science is science giveth and science taketh away. So when you know who you are and honor yourself as the divine being that operates and controls this body, and you apply the laws of health, then you will live a balanced life. So I offer programs to relearn, rethink, and rewrite your very own prescription plan. I host a weekly radio show. All this information is available on my website, my current website, not my brand website that's coming up for Karen Khadijah Davis-Foulks, but my Conscious Self Healthcare website brings you all the latest information of how you can take control of your health and your life by better understanding how you work as a cellular being. It's all out there for you at consciousselfhealthcare.com. And the first chapter in the book, 100 Voices, leads into the next book that will be written with the help of Carla, Choices, moving to moving from disease care to conscious self-health care, my journey, and how my mother's life got mixed up in my journey, and how people live in fear that doctors knows what's best, and you are your best doctor. You're supposed to tell
Uh,
them what's wrong with you.
Absolutely, absolutely, Karen. Thank you so much. Let's do this again, seriously. We've got another couple of episodes we could put out there because this is so important. You know who it's important for? It's important for my granddaughters and my granddaughters' granddaughters that they know at a young age that these options are out there and that they don't have to be led by their top lip through the medical community web of lies and just, I could say a few explicitives, but I won't.
Yeah.
And I understand that my grandmother went into the hospital and she had something up with her stomach, and we told them not to do the nasogastric tube on her because she had a very sensitive throat. And as soon as my mother walked out of the room, they did it anyway, and they called status. They just have no concern or
No
love
respect.
or
No
respect for human
respect.
life at all.
No respect. So, and leaving, I know we're going to close out. I just want to throw out these two thoughts that came to me, that's right here before me. And I want to let the community know that the difference between medicine and poison is in the dose. Get radical about your health care. Never be afraid never be afraid of your qualities, of the set that you are and who you are, that sets you apart from anyone else. You see, we are the individualized expression. We are the individualized expression of God frequency, God particle, and it's ever one with its perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And no one can come between you and that creator, that creation that you are, the source of the DNA. Because see, DNA is read through your expression. It does not turn itself on and off. You are the expression of your DNA through your own thinking. So honor yourself, take a deep breath, and say, wow, I'm in
Woo!
control. Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Carla.
much. I'll see you over on the book group. I'm gonna, if you want to hang on for a second, I'm just gonna mute you so I can
Okay.
end the call, and then we'll hang up. Hold on.
Thank you, community. Thank you. I love you.
You're welcome. Love you too. Wow, so here we go. We've just finished our next episode, our latest episode of Ready, Set, Speak, and there you have it. There are things in this life that we're not embracing as human beings because we've got too caught up in our heads. We've got too caught up to try to think about things, figure things out. No, you don't have to figure yourself out. You are here. You're already a perfect expression of God's source, energy, vibration, frequency. You don't have to live a miserable life. Learn how to increase your vibration. Get with Karen, by all means, and learn more about what happens in your cell. Once you start getting a hold of that in your own life, you'll see massive transformation. And it's all about how you think about life, how you think, and you take an emotion that attaches to that thought, and you take the reactions that you've currently had in response to things that are part of you. You don't have to stay that way. You can be an expression of your DNA by how you think, how you feel, and how you be, and how you are, and how you show up in the world and everything that you do. So I'm Carla Wynn Hall. This is Ready, Set, Speak podcast. You can find us on Facebook, or you can find my website at the Soulful Pen, PEN.com. And this episode is scheduled to air on Sunday, October the 2nd, so that we can add some little jazz to it, and we will talk to you all later. Thank you. Bye-bye.